all. I'm Sarah Bumgardner with AAFMAA, the American Armed Forces Mutual Aid Association. Since 1879, we have been serving our military community. Our mission is to be the premier provider of financial solutions for the American Armed Forces community. And as the Director of Partnership and Member Engagement, I talk with other nonprofit organizations about what they are doing to help service members, their families, veterans, and the military community at large. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about enhancing your family's well-being through two amazing organizations, United Through Reading and Partners in Promise. We'll be talking about how to stay engaged during deployments and as a family, as well as where to look for help navigating being an exceptional family member program, part of the EFMP. So today I have Molly Haskin. She is the Senior Director of Strategic Partnerships with United Through Reading, an organization who strengthens military families' literacy, emotional bonds, and well-being through the power of reading together. And at every age, no matter the distance, no matter where the family member is. And so nice to have you today, Molly.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for inviting me to join you during this important conversation.
Yeah, and our next guest is Michelle Norman. She's going to be joining us as well. She's the executive director of and founder of Partners in Promise, focused on protecting the rights of military children in special education and disability communities. And I'm so happy to have you here today, Michelle.
Thank you, Sarah. So good to join you and Molly today and talk all things military families and how to better support them.
Yes, and that's our goal today, right? Is we're talking about military families. We're talking about what partnerships looks like within organizations. These are nonprofit organizations, how we're supporting one another, lifting each other up, and all of those wonderful things. So today, first, Molly, please tell me and the audience more about United Through Reading and what programs it offers to service members' children.
Well, thanks, Sarah. United Through Reading, for more than 30 years, has had a very simple but very impactful mission. And we keep the military community and the veteran community connected to the loved ones in their lives through the bond of story time. So how do we do that, you might ask? And it's very simple these days, thanks to digital life. We have an app, because there's an app for that. And our app, which is available on all platforms, and it's called United Through Reading on all platforms, offers a secure way for a service member or a veteran to video record themselves. And that's really important because it's the video recorded story time. And then they're reading to any important child in their life. So that might be their own child. It might be a niece or a nephew or a younger sibling. It might be a grandchild for some of our veteran community. And the recipient of that video recorded story time also gets from United Through Reading the brand new physical book to go along. So they have the gift of the service member reading or the veteran reading, and then they have the gift of that new physical book in their hands, so that they can continue their literacy experience. They can read together with the video recording. They can practice reading alone after they've had that book written to them. And it really allows them to continue to build libraries within our military community houses, as well as building that bond and connection of a story time moment, because we all know story time just invokes that feeling of togetherness.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can say, all three of us here on the screens, we're all military spouses. I'm sure we've all been through deployments. And how do we keep our children engaged with the service member, right, who is away, not physically there? And so what an amazing opportunity for a child to be able to see the service member also be able to know that this is being streamed through a secure place and way to their child. And then they get the book to be able to follow along with the parent who's reading. I mean, talk about a great way to be able to keep that connection and that bond and enhance the experience of what a deployment can be and what that looks like for the child. So I think it's just tremendous, what United Through Reading is doing, and it's a really great program. And so, Michelle, I know that, Partners in Promise has joined with United Through Reading. But before we talk about that partnership specifically, tell us a little bit more about what Partners in Promise is doing for EFMP families.
Well, thank you, Sarah, for having us again today. So Partners in Promise, we are a all volunteer military spouse led nonprofit that is really focused on protecting the rights of military children in special education, which is that acronym PROMISE, and really our disability communities to ensure that all of our children can access an equal education just like their civilian counterparts. But as far as EFMP goes, we do provide those support services, any type of knowledge on special education. We have resources, programming for any folks who have military children with disabilities. And so you can go to our website. We have some wonderful resources. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about one, our special needs binder, which has been really popular with our families, which really helps guide these families as we navigate not only just the military journey, but also the journey through, special education or the medical needs of that child. And it's just a way to keep organized and be able to be a more effective advocate for your child, because that's really what we want. We don't want our children to fall through the cracks as we move every 2 to 3 years. I think that's really the key for us, and that importance of that building, that community is very hard every 2 to 3 years, which is why I love United Through Reading, because it is strengthening so many of those bonds. And that's what we want to do as well. And so that's, we're really trying to make sure that we do, collect that wonderful data and research so that we can make some changes on policy from the top down, but then also be able to support our families, at the ground level as well, to ensure that they, can make the most of this military life. Recruitment, retention, all those things are super important for our families, and it applies to our EFMP families as well.
Yeah, it does. And it really does. And especially, you touched on it just for a moment about military families. We're moving every 2 years, maybe 3 years. It's hard enough to reintegrate into a community. But when you have maybe an added step to that of having to, reintegrate a child with special needs or disabilities into the school system or into their local community and making sure their health care is set up, it can add an extra layer of challenge. And so being able to go to an organization like Partners in Promise and say, I need help or assistance in understanding this legislation. What are my rights here? What can I do to make sure that my child is getting everything that they need while we are still a military family is so important. And I think that it's tremendous what you all are doing, and the partnership that United Through Reading and Partners in Promise has kind of come together. I want to talk about that because that's what all of this is about, right? Supporting our military communities together, not reinventing the wheel, but going to organizations that are the experts to say, hey, help us out. So let's talk a little bit about that. And Michelle, what kind of has Partners in Promise done with United Through Reading in that?
So I love the word partnerships because, that really is the key, right, in supporting our military families, because we know that there's not one singular program out there that can do it all and fully support them. It really does take that village. And we talk about that a lot in that military service organization space. So that's why we're thrilled to have a wonderful resource partner like United Through Reading by our side to support our military families that do have children with disabilities. I've mentioned this before, our families, they often feel alone as they're navigating this journey. A lot of times they may not have any experience raising a child with special needs. And so it's a lot to manage in addition to, deployments and just, holding the fort at home. And again, the education piece, like you talked, and the medical component. So this applies also to our children. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be understood, and that they too are not alone in this journey. And so that representation is so important as our children grow and as they learn to read. And so when United Through Reading reached out to us a couple of years ago, we both had this idea that increasing that representation in the books that were offered to our military families would have, just a dual effect of not only, connecting the service member with their family, but then also ensuring that that child understands that there are lots of people out there with differing abilities. And it creates empathy and understanding as well from children who may be neurotypical. So what could it be like for a child or my peer to have those type of challenges? So together we created a wonderful list of books that I think all military families would enjoy, but particularly those who have exceptional needs. And United for Reading just took the ball and ran with the list. And it's wonderful to hear how it seems to be a pretty big success on their end.
Yeah, I was going to ask Molly, so how has that helped? What does it look like on your end, having this great list now of resources for children with special needs?
Right. So actually, our book list is very carefully curated. We have hundreds of books available that are on our website, and we're constantly reaching out to amazing partners like Partners in Promise to make sure that the books on our list truly reflect the needs of the diverse military community, because we have a beautiful military community that's, encompasses many different individuals from all different walks of life. And so specifically with Partners in Promise, when they were able to provide us with a bunch of books that they suggested would be really meaningful to those that they serve in their community, we were so excited to add those to our book list, because our program is really meant to be used all the time. I mean, certainly during deployments, but definitely even while service members are home too, so we can build those community libraries for our military children. So the Partners in Promise books have been a huge success, actually, and we also collect data to know that they're being integrated into the lives of our military families, and we're always looking to make sure that we're giving our military children windows that they can see themselves reflected as the heroines and heroes in books, and that's what Partners in Promise helped us do for our military children with exceptional needs.
That's great. That's so lovely. And it's so wonderful to see these two organizations kind of come together and be able to fill this need for the military community. And you mentioned that, Molly, you had mentioned that, this is United Through Reading is something that should be done and can be done, not just through deployments. And I kind of want to talk on that a little bit, because United Through Reading has a pretty large presence within the reservist community. And Michelle, you mentioned sometimes, as military spouses or military families, you can feel alone, and children can feel that too. Sometimes the reservist community can feel a little bit alone. You live a bit of a different life, you are in the civilian world, but then also still in the military world. And so I wanted to kind of talk about what United Through Reading does to support those reservists and their families.
Right. Well, one way we are very engaged with the reservist community is, like I mentioned, this program is really for all the time. So you don't have to be on deployment orders. You don't have to be on active orders or anything like that. Our app is available for free, and then the book requests from our website are available for free too, for all the time. So we really encourage service members of all branches, National Guard, Reserve, and even our Coast Guard families, to make sure that they're requesting books and creating essentially a story library of recordings that military child can access on their schedule. So, if a reservist finds themselves traveling for a drill weekend, that's a great time to make sure that they have recordings done at home for their children to access. And we definitely enjoy a lot of support from the very top. Lieutenant General Daniels, the Chief of the Army Reserve, is a frequent reader for us and often offers spotlight videos. And so, her encouraging participation in a program that helps to keep their families connected is very helpful as well. So it certainly is something that is well embraced in the reserve community, and we're always there to make sure that we're supporting.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I have enjoyed so much this conversation. I have learned so much. It has really opened kind of that realm of, again, the importance of partnerships within our military community, making sure that we are supporting one another where we can. It's something that AAFMAA strives to do, as well as ensuring that our members always know about these wonderful organizations. So if they happen to be an EFMP family, they know where to go for that help or assistance. They're looking to, bring more bond and community aspect into their child's life and make sure they're staying connected to their service member on their time and schedule. This amazing program through United Through Reading that they can get just on an app, which makes it so easy. So I want to make sure that everybody knows exactly where to go for these resources. Michelle, for those EFMP families or even other organizations needing help with EFMP programming and information, where can they reach out to for assistance?
Well, definitely our website, thepromiseact.org is a great place to start. And the great thing about our website is that you can go into the main menu and determine, which is the route you want to go. Are you a military family? Are you a leader? Or are you actual student? And that way it can kind of guide you to the resources that you need. We also can be contacted at info@the partnersinpromise.org so that we can answer any questions that anyone needs. But we always say, DoD has a fantastic EFMP program. And so on each installation, there is a family support service center where there are EFMP coordinators or case liaisons, case managers, whatever you want to call them. But always definitely use those resources because they are there to help make this life a little bit easier for these families, but we're there for them too, particularly for special ed. And we have some great things going on. I would say, please subscribe to our newsletter. We have a lot of different opportunities that are available to our subscribers. And one of them is one-on-one consults with our special education parent mentors. And so if you think that you may need some additional help, please reach out to us. But yeah, happy to help anytime and making our families feel like they're connected and they get the support that they need.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you so much, Michelle. And we'll make sure to drop that link into the comments as well so that it stays. And then Molly, for those looking to United Through Reading, we know that there's this app because how handy is an app? Everybody loves an app. But outside of that, if somebody is looking for more information or even another nonprofit organization, maybe wanting to partner, where can they go for assistance?
Right. So definitely go to our website right here, www.unitedthroughreading.org. And that is where you can find more information about the app if you're having a hard time finding it on your platform. You can find hundreds of book titles and get yourself started with a story time by requesting that we send that book for free. And then you can find our partner resource organizations like Partners in Promise on our website as well, and many others. I think we are all so much stronger when we work together, and I'm very grateful to be able to work with both of you ladies.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, I want to thank both of you again for your work in both of your fields and what you're doing and the importance of it into the military community and the whole military ecosystem as a whole. It's how we move forward, right? It's how we do this. So thank you for joining. Thank you for talking with me. And I look forward to our next conversation, most definitely. Now, that is going to wrap up our AAFMAA Live for today. If you would like more information about AAFMAA and the financial readiness within the military community, you can subscribe here on our QR code on the screen. You can also reach, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me as well. There's my contact information. Otherwise, I thank you for joining, and I hope you have a great day.